Hello everyone, and thank you for watching Zoom Logistics utilizing Zoom for virtual events. Here we'll cover an overview of setting up your meetings for these events and the best settings you should be using when doing so. Then we'll also be touching on how to run your meeting, some good tips and tricks and tools you can use to make your audience experience the best. And then we'll finish off with breakout rooms, how to set these up and turn them on, and how we can utilize these within our meetings. With the meeting overview. To get started, we want to click schedule a meeting, and then we can set the topic for it. In this case, let's use Zoom demonstration. And now below this, we have the description for the meeting. Here we put things such as the date, time, location, presenter, or topics to be covered. Alternatively, there are also templates you can use, but you must save these yourself. Now we want to set the date and time. For this meeting, we have November 4th at 1 p.m. We also have the meeting lasting an hour and a half. And please make sure you have the appropriate time zone. In this case, we use Eastern. Now, to set up registration, we need to click Required in this box, and we also have the options of security. First one is passcode, which lets us set a custom code for participants to enter when entering the meeting. Alternatively, there is waiting room, which will hold the attendees in a separate room where you must admit them manually when the meeting starts. You can choose one or both of these options. Also, you can force participants and the host to start the meeting with their videos on or off. Here we also have allowing participants to join the meeting anytime, additional settings, and automatic recordings of the meeting. This will make the meeting automatically record when it's open. You have the option to store it locally or in the cloud. In the cloud is usually the best option as it centralizes your recording and prevents it from being lost or in other people's hands. Now we click Save, and our meeting is ready to go on the surface. But there is additional features we should look at to customize it better. Here we have registration options. If we go over the Edit, this will allow us to either set an automatic approval or manual approval. Manual approval allows us to manually approve our registrants as they come in. And we also want to set a notification so that the host will get emailed anytime a new registrant comes in. Now that we have that set up, this is what it will look like now. We have our pending approvals for anyone that registers, and we can approve or deny them. Then when they're approved, they move to the approved section where we can cancel their registration or resend that confirmation email. And then we have denied. Here we can either reapprove the registration or just have them a list of people that have been omitted. Now if we go back to our settings, there's another thing called custom questions. Here we can set custom questions for registrants to answer when they register. For this one, we have short answers. This allows the attendee to type in their own answer to the question. And we also can make this a required question by clicking this box. And if we set an additional question, this time we'll use the single answer option. This is good for a multiple choice where you want to make the answers designated by you. So for this, we have do you like cats or dogs? And we have the option of cats, dogs, both. And if we want to add one more column, we click here, and we can put neither. And we will not make this a required question for our attendees. And we create, and then we can save all, and they are good to go. Next, we have these email settings. Here we see the email contact where all the information will be sent to. You typically want this to be the meeting host or the one in charge of the meeting. And now we have the confirmation email. This will usually be enabled for all accounts. And here we can edit the topic that will be sent out. We can add a footer or a header message to customize it with a personal touch. However, this is limited and there's small space and little editing you can do. Now at the top, that is where we confirm that it is on and will send. Next we have branding. This allows us to add a custom banner or logo to our registration page. Please note there are resolution dimensions that we must meet for the images. Now if we upload our banner image, and next we can go and upload our logo image. Now that we have those uploaded, let's go see what it looks like. Here you can see our final registration page with our banner image, our logo, our meeting topic and description, date and time, registration fields, and then we have our custom questions we entered. See, there's a drop-down menu for attendees to choose from. And then they click register. From here, they're not fully registered yet because we have manual approval. So if we come back to our meeting and scroll back down to the bottom, and we go back to the tab where we could view our pending approvals. Here we have one attendee waiting to be approved. By clicking that and then approve, they will be moved to the approved section and sent a confirmation email. But also by clicking their name, we can view their information and their answers to our questions. And we can also resend that confirmation email later. Another cool feature is polls. Here we can create polls to launch within our meetings. And we go to here, we can enter a topic for our poll. We can choose if we want the answers to be anonymous or not. And now we type our question. And now we're able to put in pre-selected answers so they can choose from. In this option, they have single choice, meaning they only can choose one option from the answers. But if we do multiple choice, it'll allow them to choose multiple options. And save. Now our poll is ready to go, and we can launch this in our meeting. All right. Now that we've set up our polls, let's see how they work in the meeting. As you can see at the bottom, there will be this polling button. We click this and it'll open our optional polls for the meeting. Here we have our questions, our answers, and our launch poll button. Now let's take a look how it will be for our participants once we launch the poll. And as you can see, this box will pop in right in the middle of the screen. Please note that this can be extremely disruptive if you launch this in the middle of one of your presenters speaking. So just keep that in mind when you're going to launch a poll. As you can see, our participant will click Fluffy. That is their vote for the question. They click Submit. And now this is what we'll see. We'll see live updates to our answers as they come in. We can see how many people have voted so far and the time the poll has been running. And once we feel like the poll is done and we want to close it out, we click End Poll. So we ran ours for 16 seconds and we want to collect results. Now, as you can see, the poll is closed. Here's our final results from all participants. But now we have two options we can do from here. We can share our results or we can relaunch the poll. Sharing results will show all the votes from every participant within your meeting. Let's take a look at how that will be. And as you can see here, these are the final results. This will pop in right in the middle of the screen for all your participants again, and it'll show how everyone in your meeting has voted. All right, so now that we have our meeting set up, let's take a look at actually running these meetings. Before we get started though, you should note that it is recommended to have a meeting director of some sort when you're in a meeting. A meeting director is just a role that you can assign to anyone on your team, but they should not be involved with the presentation itself and should have the sole role of controlling the logistics of the meeting. This person will need to be the main host of the meeting and not a co-host so that they have these full logistical controls. The meeting director would also handle tasks such as spotlighting speakers, controlling your breakout rooms, and assisting attendees with technical problems, and taking lead on team coordination while you're in the meeting. This role is really essential when utilizing breakout rooms, as your team will not have the ability to move on their own between the rooms, so you'll need someone to manually do it for them. Also, we recommend that you have external communication channels outside of Zoom. For example, a good communication channel will be Slack, text, email, something that you can do to distribute information to just your team in a consolidated way. This is really important when you're presenting and you need to coordinate things like moving between your rooms, answering questions, or just sharing information among yourself. Now let's take a look about inside the meeting. There are two kind of privileges you can assign to your meeting. There's the host, which is the owner of the meeting and is the highest level of privilege you can give in the meeting. This person is usually the one that created the meeting, but you can also designate new hosts to other participants within the meeting. Also, another great thing you should have is the co-host. These share similar privileges to the host, but are limited to in certain ways, such as they can't edit the polls, they can't end the meeting itself, and they can't move people between breakout rooms. These would be the most notable differences. Now for a co-host though, you can assign them within the meeting, but you also can assign them prior to the meeting. Now at the bottom of your meeting setup, you'll see a bar that says alternative host. Here you can enter the emails of your co-host separated by a comma, but you do need to note that this is limited to only people that are a part of your Zoom account. So if someone outside your company, let's say, wants to be a co-host, you will not be able to do it from this setting. So now that we have that out of the way, there's also other cool things we can do within our meeting to make the experience better for the audience. Here we have visual cues, which are very helpful to your audience to identify who a speaker is, who a moderator is, who the panel could be, or identify yourself by organizations or firms. So we take a look here, we go down to Start or Stop Video, click the arrow, and in the menu we'll see Virtual Backgrounds. From here, we'll be prompted with this window where we can see all the different visual background options we have. Now these are really cool because we can do things like set a judicial background. So maybe I'm a judge and I want to let the audience know that is my role in the meeting. Maybe I want to show that I'm from Acorn so everyone can know who I am very easily. Or if you just want to spruce up your house a little bit, you can always do a nice interior design background. Another great option to enhance your attendees' experience when having a meeting is the different view options you have. In the top right hand corner, you'll see a button that'll say speaker view or gallery view. These are two different view options you have within Zoom. You need to note though, this is controlled on the attendee side. So you will not be able to manually switch this back and forth on them. But as we can see here, this is gallery view. This puts all the windows on one page, equal size, side by side. This is a great format when you want to have open discussions, back and forth, and interaction from your attendees. Alternatively, there's speaker view. This is where one screen is highlighted bigger than the others, and the rest will be at the top. This is a great option when you're having a webinar style or a lecture and you want just one person talking and you have designated question times or designated times when the audience can participate. However, even though we can't change this manually for our attendees, there is something we can do. When we're in the meeting as the host, we have the option to spotlight a speaker. We can access this by going to the review box, clicking the three dots and coming down to Spotlight for everyone. Now this is nice because this will force the image to go into speaker view for all your attendees, highlighting one speaker until you choose to change it otherwise. Do remember though, that this speaker will be spotlighted until you go back to the settings and either spotlight a different speaker or unspotlight the one you clicked. Now there's one more feature we can use to make our audience experience good when we're hosting these meetings. Sometimes you'll want to share a clip or a video with your audience directly, but we need to make sure that they can hear the audio that we're hearing on our computer on their computer. The thing is, Zoom will not automatically share the sound from your computer to theirs, so we need to make sure we're clicking the right settings when doing this. To share the video, we do it like we share any other screen. We click the share screen button, but this time we need to remember to click this button at the bottom. This will ensure that our attendees can hear the sound from the video we're sharing, just like we would when playing it. All right, now let's see how we set up breakout rooms. If we go to the bottom right of our toolbar, we'll see the tab Breakout Rooms. Open this up. Here we can see how many rooms we want to create. Don't worry too much about this now, as you can add and delete them later on. Here we have the settings for assign automatically, manually, or let your participants choose on their own. Ideally, you want to do this manually, so you can organize your rooms as you see fit. Once we have that, we click Create. From here, we can see our rooms. We have the options to rename them. We also have the options to delete them and add new ones. Now, if we go over here to Assign, we'll see all our participants in our meetings. We click that, and now they are assigned to this room. If you wish to move them to a different room, you unclick them, click Assign, and assign them to a different one. Now, before we open the rooms, make sure you go to Options. Here is where you can choose some additional features, and most importantly, set the time for your room. And set how long the countdown will be when the rooms are closed. This happens when you end the breakout rooms. There will be, in this scenario, a 10-second countdown before the participants are all brought back. Now that we have that set up, let's open the rooms. Now, as you can see, our participant has been moved into their breakout room. From here, you can choose to join one of the rooms, and you can also move the participant between the rooms. This is a nice feature for when you're setting up something such as a workshop, and you want to have moderators move between groups of people. So let's say we put 2 people in each room, and then we have a room of moderators. We can take our moderator, move them to a room to check in on each attendee's personal group, and move them between as they see fit. Please note that these features are only capable from being host. You have to be the main host of the meeting in order to move participants between rooms and have the freedom to join any room as you see fit. You can also have the option to broadcast a message to all groups. This will appear in every room. And when you're done and it's time to end the meeting, you click Close All Rooms, and this is the countdown that will happen. The attendees will see this as well. Now let's take a look at the breakout room journey from the attendee's perspective. When we open the breakout rooms and send the attendees to one, they will be prompted with this, joining room 3, or whatever room they're going to. Next, they will be in their breakout room. They can also see the time remaining of the room in the top right-hand corner. And then when the rooms end, they'll be prompted with this. Breakout rooms will close in however many seconds you set it to, and they can also leave the room early with this button. From there, they'll return to the main session and rejoin the group. Thank you everyone for taking the time to watch my presentation on Zoom logistics, utilizing Zoom for events. I hope this presentation was educational, and if you wish to learn more about any of Acorn's educational offerings, please contact us at cle@acornls.com. Thanks.